To me, the most interesting thing about where we are now is that you have three different sets of issues that are all getting jumbled together, but ought to be treated separately. One is the actual constitutional legal issues about these ballots. Does our Constitution block someone who's never lived in North Carolina from voting in a North Carolina election? Does our voter ID law mandate that anyone who casts a ballot, wherever they are, has to provide a voter ID? Does the state law, based on the federal law of the HAVA, say that if you have registered to vote and didn't provide your driver's license number or last four digits of a social security number, does that mean your registration is invalid? Those are all legal constitutional issues that can and should be addressed at some point. The second big issue, though, is the context. Should they be addressed in the context of deciding yes or no about who's going to win an election? And I think a lot of people who think those issues should be addressed at some point say, but don't address it in this context. This is taking place after an election is over, once we know the results, and basically one candidate is trying to use these issues that may be legitimate to try to overturn an election, and that shouldn't happen. That's one of the key points of the Richard Dietz dissent. Was he agreed basically with Jefferson Griffin on two out of his three issues, but said this is not the time to bring this up. This should have been resolved before the election, or it could be resolved going forward, not for the case of this election. And then the third separate issue that I think is important and a lot of people are focusing on is the politics of how this looks. Whether Jefferson Griffin has the most principled argument he could possibly have going about putting forward this case now in the context of trying to change the election so that it will make him the winner and Allison Riggs the loser, it looks like bad politics for anyone outside of the most hardcore Republican voters, the ones who say whatever hurts Democrats is good and Republicans should win. Those folks are happy to see this play out. But a lot of folks on the conservative side of the fence are looking at this and saying, hey, this is close. We understand you thought you won by 10,000 votes on election night and that you saw that lead go away. But after the recounts showed that Allison Riggs had won, you should have just said, okay, she won. I'll step back into my role as an appeals court judge and move forward. And I think a lot of people are looking at these various issues, the constitutional legal issues, the context, and the political implications, and are lumping them all together, which is causing some of the confusion.